One of the biggest issues with this transformation is the lack of foreshadowing. In Dragon Ball Daima episode 18, Goku's new form makes its debut, but unless you had prior knowledge of spoilers, there was no way to anticipate it. Up until this point, Goku hadn't even demonstrated his full power. Most of his opponents throughout Daima could be easily defeated with basic Super Saiyan transformations, if even that. This aspect is somewhat similar to Dragon Ball GT, but GT handled the foreshadowing for Super Saiyan 4 much more efficiently. Like in Daima, Goku held back on using Super Saiyan 3 until the last minute against Baby Vegeta. However, what set GT apart was the build-up that followed. After Goku's defeat, Elder Kaioshin immediately began setting the stage for the next level of power, making it clear that Super Saiyan 3 wasn't enough. With fusion off the table, since Vegeta was the very enemy that Goku needed to overcome, fans were left to wonder how Goku could possibly triumph. In contrast, Daima follows a similar setup with Goma, pushing Goku to use Super Saiyan 3, only for him to lose shortly after, proving that more power was needed. However, the narrative still left other possibilities open. The joined bugs had been introduced early in the series, making fusion a widely expected development. During the fight against Goma, Goku drops the fusion bugs and they make a pretty big scene about it. At the time, it felt like the show was intentionally ruling out fusion for now, reinforcing the expectation that it would play a role later. However, having it dismissed in favor of Super Saiyan 4 ended up creating an opposite effect of foreshadowing. It set up one expectation only to abruptly pivot in another direction. If the focus was meant to be on Goku unlocking a new power to defeat Goma, then hints of the transformation should have been planted in earlier episodes. The only real clue we had was the immense power of Neva, who was established as the creator of the Demon Realm Dragon Balls, the one who separated the Demon Realm and the leader of the powerful Tamagami beings. While it makes sense that he would have the ability to awaken his form in Goku, the reveal isn't particularly compelling. Understanding how something happens doesn't necessarily make it feel earned. Neva essentially serves as the same narrative role as Elder Kai in this scenario, acting as the wise mystical figure who helps Goku unlock his potential. However, the way each character fulfills this role is different. Elder Kai's power was explained as the ability to sense and unleash dormant potential even when the individual couldn't recognize it. This was consistent with his character as he had done the same with Gohan in Dragon Ball Z. While I wasn't entirely satisfied with GT's method of unlocking Goku's potential, having his tail forcibly pulled out, the transformation itself made logical sense once he began turning into an Ozaru. The dormant power Goku taps into in GT is essentially the power of the Great Ape refined for the modern age. In Vegeta's story, the Golden Ozaru, the form achieved by a Super Saiyan with a tail, is revealed to be the true legendary Super Saiyan all along. While this was an anime-only scene, it still fits within the framework of GT, since the series was based on the Dragon Ball Z anime rather than the original manga. Because Saiyans had lost their tail over time, they also lost access to this ancient power. However, by regaining this tail, Goku was able to build upon everything he had already achieved in his lifetime, allowing him to fully embody the legend. This concept is unique to GT, but it worked well because it tied Super Saiyan 4 into the series lore in a meaningful way. In contrast, when Super Saiyan 4 is introduced in Daima, the transformation sequence lacks even a single line of dialogue, something almost unheard of in Dragon Ball. In previous transformations, the reactions and commentary from onlookers play crucial roles in shaping the audience's perception of both power and significance of the new form. Their absence here weakens the impact of the moment. I'll admit that the animation is well done, but that's where the praise stops. The form's design itself is debatable, but one of the most widely criticized aspects is how it directly mirrors Super Saiyan 4 from GT, yet fails to restore Goku to his adult form. This omission undermines the mythical quality that Super Saiyan 4 originally had in GT. In that series, the transformation somehow bypassed the effects of Ultimate Shenron's wish, adding to its intrigue. In Dragon Ball Daima, however, the form is definitively framed as a magic-based transformation, granted by Neva's power. Yet, despite being magical, it doesn't override the wish that reverted Goku to a child. The logic behind this is unclear. Was it simply done for marketing purposes so both child and adult versions of Goku could exist? More than likely, and that doesn't help. Setting aesthetics aside, the biggest issue with this transformation is that we don't actually know how Goku achieved it. Neva's magic is given as the explanation, but what does that even mean? When introducing a new form, the most important thing is to establish how it was attained, especially when there was no prior foreshadowing. Without this explanation, the transformation loses its narrative weight. Fans were left to come up with their own interpretations before the show even provided an answer. It was episode 18 that this form was revealed, and it wasn't until episode 20, the last episode, that we get an explanation. And it was late in the episode at that. The most widely accepted theory at the time was that Neva's magic, when combined with Saiyan genetics, created a transformation Goku couldn't reach on his own. This aligns with how Neva powered up the Tamagami, suggesting that the same principle applied to Goku, but with a different effect due to his Saiyan biology. This explanation would have fit perfectly within the episode, with Neva himself clarifying the mechanics behind the transformation. Even if the details weren't covered immediately, the very next episode could have expanded on it instead of skipping over the explanation entirely. Then we find out later that Goku could access Super Saiyan 4 independently, without Neva's magic. This revelation completely undermined the fan theory and eliminated any chance of a reasonable one. In Daima's final episode, it's revealed that Goku had access to Super Saiyan 4 ever since the end of the Buu saga, but never used it because he assumed it wouldn't work. And this explanation comes with far too many issues. Firstly, the idea that a transformation as legendary as Super Saiyan 4 could be achieved simply through training is incredibly weak. Unless training occurs under a specialized instructor or within an environment that pushes one's limits, it usually amounts to little more than Goku punching the air or firing Kamehamehas at himself. The notion that Super Saiyan 4, one of the most unique and powerful forms in the franchise, was achieved through nothing more than the routine strength training is an example of lazy storytelling. The only transformation introduced in a similarly abrupt manner was Super Saiyan 3. Some might argue that Super Saiyan 2 belongs in the same category as well, and while that's not entirely wrong, it overlooks some key distinctions. Originally, Super Saiyan 2 was referred to as Super Saiyan Grade 5 and was meant to be the ultimate form of Super Saiyan, one that increased power without sacrificing speed, and in fact enhanced it. This was the very form Goku and Vegeta were striving for in the hyperbolic time chamber, and it was only due to Gohan's immense potential that this was unlocked so early. Super Saiyan 3, on the other hand, seemingly came out of nowhere and even had elements of anti-foreshadowing. However, what separates it from Daima Super Saiyan 4 is that there is at least an understandable basis for how Goku obtained it. He spent 7 years training in other worlds surrounded by divine beings from across the universe. Additionally, because he was already dead, he wasn't bound by the physical limitations of a living body, allowing him to push beyond normal restrictions. This is evident in how Goku struggles much more to maintain Super Saiyan 3 while alive on Earth against Kid Buu than he did when he was dead fighting Fat Buu. Super Saiyan 4 and Daima, however, offers no such explanation and instead is simply stated that Goku unlocked it through training, without any specific details or context. If Super Saiyan 3 took him 7 years to master in the afterlife, how could Super Saiyan 4 be attained in less than a year under normal conditions? The progress feels rushed and unearned. Beyond that, the visual inconsistencies of the transformation only add to the confusion. In GT, the presence of a tail made sense because the Ozaru form was directly tied to the transformation. But in Daima, there's no clear reason for its appearance. Goku's tail grows back and when he transforms, only to vanish when it reverts. Instead of integrating the form into an established lore, it simply gives Goku the appearance of a monkey sage with no real justification. It's treated as if it's just the next step beyond Super Saiyan 3, without any deeper meaning behind it. So not only does this form lack proper foreshadowing, but it also fails to provide an explanation after the fact. And as fans, we're supposed to just accept it and be invested? No thanks, that's a hard sell. This is YappBird, but you're on a different channel today. This is the same podcast. Here we talk about all things Dragon Ball for the purpose of your entertainment. If you want to see more content like this, then subscribe and stay tuned for the next discussion that we do. We go live Sundays and Thursdays and you get a chance to interact with us. See you then.